Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Morning Momentum. My name is Matt Beard. First time tuning in, welcome. We're in the middle of our virtual real estate investing rundown. This is day number 10. So hopefully you guys have watched some of the episodes leading up to this. Every day kind of stacks on top of each other. Okay, so if you missed anything leading up to day 10, it's totally cool because there's a great place you can go back and watch it, which is YouTube. So if you guys haven't yet and you get value from these videos every morning, I want to ask you to go over to the YouTube channel, Matthew Beard. You see that little cartoon guy in your corner. Hit subscribe. That's where the videos are going to be. So you can go back and watch them and hopefully you get some value from this stuff. And if you are like this video, share it with anyone who you feel like will get value as well. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for joining in. What's up, Aaron? Thanks for hopping in. Instagram. What's going on, guys? Happy to see you. So yesterday was awesome. We did our free virtual assistant training, which was just, better than last time. The last time we did a free virtual assistant training, I think it was like March 28th. And we had a bunch of people show up. It was like 120 VAs were there. It was a ton of fun. Yesterday, we had almost 200 people on the live training. And what I feel like was the coolest part was the training was only supposed to be 4 hours. We ended up going almost 6 hours, which was really cool. But the best part was that when we started with almost 200, we finished with almost 200, meaning that no one left for like 6 hours. You guys came in and hung out. And I know the VAs that were there and participated got a ton of value. So hopefully if your VA showed up, they had good things to say and they learned some cool stuff too. So that was a ton of fun yesterday. And we're going to continue to do stuff like that once a month. But yeah, that was awesome. And we're going to be doing something else super duper cool on June 21st. I'm going to share that with you guys once we go over our action item for today. So stay tuned to the end and we'll go over what that thing is that we're going to be doing on June 21st or starting on June 21st. So that's awesome. Thank you guys for coming in. Let's get to it. So ultimately this week, we've been talking a lot about acquisitions, what you guys need to do as you break into virtual markets, like meeting other wholesalers, meeting realtors, creating good relationships, and then having a lead system, a place to put those leads. We talked about Podio there shortly. I think that was day number 8. I think we talked about Podio. And then day number 9, which was yesterday, we talked about speed to lead. So how can you get to your leads faster? If you can't service your leads, you need to find someone who can, okay? Because that's going to make or break your whole entire system. If you're generating leads and you're unable to get to them in a timely manner, then you almost would say, hey, I probably should not be generating leads until that can happen. Like that's pretty much foundational. Okay. So that was yesterday. And I hope you were able to look at your system and say, dude, okay, I'm not able to get to these leads in time because I work a 9 to 5, or I'm not able to get to these leads because I have all these other things. I have commitments. I have babies that I'm watching and I'm the only one who can take care of the babies. And like, I'm super duper. I'm a stay-at-home dad and or stay-at-home mom. And I have so many things that are pulling me in so many different directions. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Like ultimately, I know that my life and the way my life is set up is going to be completely different than yours. Okay. But ultimately, I know what matters in this business. So it's finding ways to make sure that happens. Even if it's not you making the follow-ups, even if it's not you being able to service those leads, you need to find someone who can. Because otherwise, those leads are just going to go into a bottomless bucket. And if they're not getting called, the chances of you getting that deal drops off tremendously, like a nosedive. So that was yesterday. I wanted to reiterate that first thing before we got into today. Now, let's go into today's action item. This is another thing that kind of goes hand in hand with speed to lead. We know, in general, how many calls it takes to get that deal. Okay, so let's go over that KPI today, and this is your action item. Most of you guys, most folks that I talk to, don't even track this number. This is a very important number to track because it's the number you track on yourself. Like you track your VAs, right? You track the calls they make, the contacts, and the appointments. You track all that, but you don't ever track yourself. Like what are the key items? What are the key things that you need to get done every single day? Do you track those things? Do you have KPIs on yourself? That's crazy, right? Some people are like, dude, what are you talking about? Why would I ever do that? Why would I keep KPIs on myself? Numbers create predictability, right? That is why. Numbers create predictability. So if you find numbers in your business that are like, okay, I'm getting results with this. Well, if I start tracking these numbers, then I know that I'm going to have a pretty much predictable income, right? The data is the language of your business. So it's important that you're tracking yourself too. And it doesn't just have to be calls. It doesn't have to be conversations, but anything that's important, right? I tell you guys, the first thing I do when I wake up every morning, I say, okay, what's the one thing I can do today for my real estate business? What is the one thing I can do today for Start Virtual? What is the one thing I can do today for all the businesses, right? And I look at that as a big picture and I make sure I try to get those things done. Those are my KPIs. Sometimes it's a yes or no. Sometimes there's key metrics that's going to get me to that one thing, right? So for this action item today, day number 10, is getting revenue into your business, right? How do you get those deals? How do you get those deals into your business? Now that you're generating leads, acquisition, you need to make sure the acquisition process is predictable. Who here wants your acquisition process to be predictable? Who here is watching because you're like, I want to know the money I put in. I want to know that I'm going to get a return on it and I'm going to get money out, right? Some of you guys are like, Matt, I've been doing this for months, dude. That's impossible. I've been trying to wholesale for 2 years. I've gotten 3 deals. Or I've been trying to wholesale for 6 months and I've gotten 1 deal. So how in the world are all this going to all of a sudden just change magically and I'm just going to get a deal or I'm going to get that predictability you're talking about? This is how you do it. Okay. You want to, number one, you got to generate leads. We know national average is 50 leads to get a deal. So if you're generating 25 leads a month, best case scenario, especially getting started, you may get a deal every 2 months. That's if everything is working properly. So you want to double down on your lead generation. If you want to get a deal a month, probably getting started, you want to say, okay, well, even if I suck, I'm going to get a deal in like 75 to 100 leads. Okay. So I need those leads. And the only way that's going to work, right, is I have, cold calling, texting, whatever you're doing for that lead generation. We talked about that in the first week. Okay. Now you got that figured out. You got 50 to 75 leads. You have someone or you are calling them quickly. Even the ones that don't look good, guys, even the ones that they're asking retail when we don't have a ton of motivation, trust me, just because they're asking retail does not mean it's a bad lead. If there's enough motivation there, we can either negotiate and get a good price or we can buy it at a wholesale price. Or if there's enough motivation there and they're really stuck on the price, we can get the terms we need. Okay. So don't disqualify leads. I think that's one of the biggest things that we do as business owners, especially as our time is limited. We're like, oh, I'm not calling that person. I'm not calling that person. Then what's the purpose of paying for the lead? Okay. If that's not you, then maybe find someone who can call your leads for you. Okay. Find someone who can be consistent. Now, what happens is when you start handing these off to other people that you're JVing with, you lose control. And I personally like having control in my business. Do you guys want to have control? Because I want to know that I have a controlled environment that's going to give me the predictability. No one's going to care for my leads the way I care for them. It's like my baby, right? So I want to try to do everything under my control. So maybe in the beginning, I highly recommend that being you, right? Making those calls, but it has to be done quick. And if you're like, my life circumstances is saying I can't get to the leads quickly, then that's still okay. You're going to need to find some help. Okay. Help as in I'm going to pay someone to help me, or help as in I'm going to find a JV partner. Okay. But that has to happen. Now that these leads are being followed up, now let's look at that metric. There is a clear number that we know if this number is hit, we're going to get deals. Okay. And it's as simple as calls. How many calls do we have to make every single day on warm leads, not cold calls, right? Not just a big list of people, but the warm leads, the people who have already been vetted by our cold callers. How many of those phone calls do I need to make a day to get 1 or 2 contracts a week, right? I think we're all in here because we like to get 4 to 6 deals a month just with us. Would that be cool? Like just you get 4 to 6 deals a month, averaging $15,000 a deal. That's like almost $100,000 just by hitting this metric. Okay. So you do need leads to be able to hit this metric. At the end of the day, it's hard to outperform. It's hard to get one deal every 10 leads, right? So you do need the volume of leads. That has to happen first. So that's why we talked about lead gen first. Now you're making these calls, even the ones that you don't want to call because they don't look like great leads on your calendar or someone is helping you, right? The metric is 80 calls per day, at least 80 calls per day. That has to happen. And you need to track yourself. Okay. So if you're not getting deals in your business and you're the person making the calls, there's a good chance you're not making 80 calls on warm leads every single day. And there's a good chance if you like, dude, I can't hit 80 calls, it's because you don't have enough leads. So then you have a lead gen problem. Okay, you need to generate more leads. But if you have the leads and you're making your 80 calls, then you have a closing issue. But ultimately, even if you stink, even if you're not good at all and you hit 80 dials a day, you're going to get a deal. No doubt. You're going to get a deal as long as you're consistent with it. I mean, I can look at my sales team and I can see, okay, they made 30 calls a day, no deal. They made 56 calls a day, no deal. They made 70 calls a day, no deal. Oh, they made 86 calls a day, we got a contract out. Oh, they made 92 calls a day, we got a contract out. Oh, they made 46 calls a day, no contract out. Right? It's like crazy. It's night and day. It's insane. So yes, that's a full-time job to hit those numbers, right? I mean, I think to hit anywhere from 80 to 90 dials on warm follow-ups, I mean, that's going to take about 5 hours, right? So that's why we have VAs to help us do it. That's why we have lead managers and we have an acquisition rep, and maybe that's someone you want to hire. Okay. But we know you have to hit those numbers. So there's a good chance right now, if you're just getting started, you're not tracking any of these numbers. You're not even tracking the leads to contract. Maybe you don't have a contract, so that's not a number that you can even that you can track right now. But the one thing you can do is your personal production. So your action item for today is to start tracking how many phone calls do you make to warm leads. Okay, that's it. And if you're like, Matt, I don't have that many leads, great. You need to have VAs or more VAs to start generating more leads, or you need to figure out a way to maybe you need to send out more text messages and you can respond to the text messages. Okay, to get to the point where you can have that many like consistent conversations, 80 to 90 dials a day to warm leads. Okay, but you may not be there yet. Track what you can. Track what you can do today. If you're like, Matt, I don't have that many leads, well, maybe it's 40 calls for you. 40 calls a day on the leads that I do have. I'm calling all 40 of them. Now I still have 40 more calls to make. Who should I call? You should call realtors, right? You should call realtors, people who are in transactions. You say, hey, my name is Matt. I'm a local real estate investor, fix and flipper, looking for our next project. Do you have anything coming up? Right? Maybe you should call 40 realtors. That will hit your 80 mark. And I guarantee if you do that consistently, you're going to get deals. But ultimately, it starts by tracking your numbers, tracking yourself. Okay. So I got to track myself. I got to be honest with myself, because if I'm not hitting these numbers, then I can't really expect to have any result. Right? It has to be consistent. There's really two things for anyone that this business works or doesn't work for you. It comes to two things. It comes to consistency and execution. Consistency and execution. Consistency and execution. If you can stay consistent, this business will not just work for you. You will make a bunch of money. But if you're not consistent and you lack execution, it's not going to work out. Okay? So let's just be super clear about that one today. So your action item for day number 10 is start tracking that metric for yourself on the acquisition process. Okay. Does everyone agree? You're going to start tracking your metric. Even if you don't have that many leads, you have a way to fill that time. Your leads are being generated. All you can do is all you can do the best you can. That's all you can do. Right. So maybe you can only afford one VA. So that one VA is cold calling, and maybe you're handling text and you're texting all you can right now until texting goes away. Right. But the other things that can fill your time, don't just do busy work. Don't just go and try and look at new lists. Go have conversations, because the only way you get deals in this business is by talking to people. So if you run out of leads, you call realtors. But track that number, guys. That's day number 10. Thank you for coming and hanging out with me for another episode of Morning Momentum. Hopefully you're getting some value from this stuff. If you are, again, please like this video, share it with your friends and family who you think will get value as well. If you haven't yet, of course, head over to the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. So I promised you guys I'd share something with you at the end, which is what's going on June 21st. June 21st is going to be something like no other. It's for Subject 2 students only. So if you're a Sub 2 student, I'm excited to share this time with you over the next 3 weeks. If you're not, then you're probably going to have to wait till August to get a hold of this. But it's going to be very cool. We have 1,000 people registered for a live event. I'm going to be going live 3 hours per day starting June 21st. 3 hours per day. I'm going to start my business from scratch. So literally, I'm going to take my wholesale business and real estate investing business. I'm going to set it aside. I'm going to have someone manage it. And for 3 hours a day, I'm going to start my business from scratch. And I'm going to pretend that all I have is 3 hours to spend on the business per day. Right? That's it. 3 hours per day is all I have. And I'm going to build my business from the very beginning, as in getting my LLC, getting marketing set up, getting everything started in the business from literally nothing. And within 3 weeks, we're gonna get at least one deal, but I guarantee we're probably gonna have a couple. But we're gonna document the process. It's gonna be super cool, and we're gonna have a bunch of people watching, and we're gonna compile the videos and stuff, and it's gonna be awesome. So literally, it's gonna be a step by step going from no business and watching exactly what we do. Cody and I are gonna work together on it, and we're gonna go from nothing to deals being done, leads being generated, cash coming into a business that we just created 3 weeks prior. So I'm excited for that because I think a lot of folks are in that same position. Like, dude, I've been doing this. I haven't got any deals. I've been doing this. I haven't got any traction. You can literally follow what we're going to do for 3 weeks. And literally there's no excuse because we're just going to do it over 3 hours. So we can all find 3 hours to do this in our day, right? If you're serious about this business and you want to quit your full-time job, or you want to quit your current job that's taking up all your time, we got to be able to spend. I mean, 3 hours is, I feel like that's lenient. So 3 hours per day for 3 weeks. We're going to go from nothing to something. And I'm excited to share. So if you're in the subject to community, I'm excited for you guys to be on and watch this live. It's going to be a complete game changer. And if you're not in the subject to community, stay patient. We will have it probably by August will be a time where we'll be able to share it. We'll take the videos, put it into a course, and it's going to be super duper sweet. So yeah, I'm excited for that, guys. If you want more information, again, if you are not a subject to student, you may have to go to sub2.com and learn more about that mentorship. But leading up to this, I'm stoked because I talk about it. I go live every single morning, and I give you some action items and stuff. But I think it's going to be really cool to see me actually do those things. And I think it'll be a paradigm shift and some big ahas for a lot of people. So I can't wait for that, guys. If you guys are stoked too, let's give me like a peace sign if you're stoked for that. Thank you guys for tuning in on YouTube. All my YouTube viewers, what's up, guys? Thank you for tuning in and hanging out. And everyone on Instagram, thank you guys for coming and hanging out. It's going to be a ton of fun. If you have any questions, if you need anything from me, probably best way to reach me is actually Instagram. If you go to MatthewBeard_, shoot me a DM. I'm happy to get back to you as soon as I can, guys. But yeah, let's go have a great day. It's Thursday. I want to finish the week off with a bang. Hopefully we get a couple more contracts, and I'll document that on Instagram too. So let's go make it happen, guys. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Peace.